conquista tutto. L'amore conquista tutto.
Hey there, everyone. It's Curly here, and welcome to episode 61 of the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast. We've got a brand new format tonight, and it's called FANFILTEred, and it's purely because I was told about this band a couple of months back, and I reached out to get them on the podcast, and I haven't heard from them, so we thought, well, what's next best is to get one of their fans on to talk about them. So I thought, what a format. But before we introduce our special guest fan, please welcome down there in the cold confines, I'm presuming it's cold confines of Adelaide.
Hey,
Braggy.
Curly, how are you?
I am awesome.
No, it's not cold, mate. It's unusually warm for this time of year. It's going to be 28, I think, tomorrow.
Truly.
Which is bizarre. But
Very bizarre.
then by Sunday, we got a maximum of 19, I think. So it's
all
back to normal.
Back to normality.
Just seems a bit weird, footy season, that I haven't got the jumper on.
Yeah, we were cold last weekend, but then during the week it's been relatively warm again. So,
and I saw your Dragons had a win.
We did, and the Broncos are playing tonight against the Sharks, so that'll be an interesting game to see how they go. And your Melbourne Demons keep winning.
Who's going to beat them? Can't.
I think the Lions might be the only shot. But what's also surprising, like I looked at the ladder the other day, and Fremantle are in second place. Where have they come from?
Yeah, mate, they're playing well. Yeah, young guys, no fear.
So as you can see, we've got a special guest, and she's absolutely bored with the football talk. So
I was going to say, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Most of our guests are bored with the football talk.
So please welcome, this is my beautiful daughter, please welcome Tayla to the podcast. How are you, Tay?
I'm great, Dad. How are you?
I am really, really good, and it's really exciting to have you here tonight and to talk about one of your favourite bands. But before we do, just bear with us. A little bit of news during the week. Braggy, a good mate of yours, released something new.
Robbie Stanier, my good mate, who's helped me out heaps, and I've played in bands with, and I've known him for a long, long time, worked in music shops with him. Yeah, us two old guys, we're getting old now, and we feel like... I talked to Rob the other day. We feel like we need to leave something behind.
Yeah,
you know? We're not that old. We're not going to go away anywhere soon. But it's just good to have a little digital footprint, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the album's called Hope. So it's a brand new album out there on Spotify. And I just happen to have a little snippet here.
Cool.
That the audience might just. It's a bit. It's completely different from his first album.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's, this is a song called Better Me. It's a little bit of a snippet, not much, ladies and gentlemen.
She makes me want to be a much better me, a better me. She can easily see and make me
describe that sort of music, Braggy? It's a bit uplifting.
I don't know, singer-songwriter sort of music. I'm more interested in that album cover. What the fuck's going on there? It's a hope going down the drain. What's going on? We're going to have to ask him when he's on.
Yeah, and we've got Rob coming on in May. Is that right? Rob's coming on to talk about his album?
Second week of May, I think. Yeah, and I actually... Oh, no, I'll be here in May, yeah. I'll be here in May. I'm away for the whole of June, so I'm going to be on the road for a couple of shows. And you will be too, I guess, for one.
We'll work it out.
You're booked and blessed. Booked and blessed.
And the other little bit of music that came out during the week is our good friends at Tayla Made Rejects. And
It's my favourite. I love these guys.
you've got to love the name. And they've released their EP, which is called Self-Medicate, so fancy that. And here's a little... You remember when I was talking about their video clip, and it was a little bit like the Teletubbies meet Lost in Space or something? Here's a little snippet, so
Cool.
I'll get your thoughts on it. This is Ghosts of Paradise.
Oh, mate, you've got to love a band who plays hard Aussie rock. It's got a sense of humour and takes the piss out of themselves.
Yeah.
And that's so Australian, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And
It looks great.
communicating now with Alejandro to get him back on the podcast Thursday.
That'll be good.
Isn't the greatest day for them, and so we will get them on, and we'll get all four of them on. So it was a bit of a great show when we just had two of them. So we got four coming on this time. So that'll be
out of
exciting.
control.
But yeah, I'll put the links to both of those albums on Spotify in the show notes because both of them deserve a bit of a play.
Yep.
Hey Tay, Eliza and the Delusionals. Hey.
Yeah.
Tell us about them.
Ooh, okay. So I first heard them back in September, I want to say. Their first song that I ever heard was called Save Me, and I was driving to work one day, I was listening to Triple J, and I don't know whether or not they had just released it, but there was just something about it that I absolutely loved. I actually think I've still got the note in my phone, because obviously I didn't want to text and drive, so I got Siri to make a note.
Cool.
And it just says, Eliza and the Delusionals, Save Me. As soon as I got to work, I immediately added it to my work playlist and just had it on repeat all day. There's something about it. I mean, spoiler alert, it's still my favourite song, but there's just something about them. Like, her voice is amazing. It's very hypnotic, but it's very 90s. Like, I don't know. It's just...
Yeah, it is 90s. It's very ethereal sound, isn't it?
Yeah. So there was... I can't remember, there was an article I read when they were referring to some of the new music that they'd come out with, and somebody had said it's a bunch of 20-somethings talking about the 90s, and I was like, that's actually the perfect way to explain it. Like, it's just, it has this 90s, early 2000s feel, and yeah, maybe because I'm a 90s kid, I can relate to it. But I don't know, I love them. I can't stop talking about them. They're fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like. I mean, we're gonna show some clips, I guess, aren't we?
Yeah, we've got
can.
a couple of songs to work through. So
But they seem also, and you'll probably notice in the clips, they seem really multi-instrumental as well. Like the girl, I think that's Eliza. As I see her, she's like early on, she plays bass, and then she's playing guitar, and then, so what a talent!
Yeah, no, she's stunning as well. Has an amazing voice.
Yeah, she's beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, she's just got this really nice presence about her that just, I don't know, they just, I don't know, the atmosphere. I think Dad can agree, because he obviously came to the gig. There's just a real great stage presence about them, and so, you know, the way that they're going, the like trajectory that they're going, it's actually really nice to see. Because when I first found them, I think on Spotify they maybe had like less than 50,000 listeners, and then I was checking this morning and I think they're at like over 100,000, and that's in what, 6 months, 7 months, so they're definitely doing really good things. So
yeah, just under 120,000 on Spotify. They got 4,200 on YouTube, and on their Facebook page they got 6,600 people. So they certainly know what they're doing and how to get the followers. So let's start with their song that has seen just under 4.7 million streams on Spotify. And this is the song that most people know and call their favourite, and it's a song called "Just Exist." So.
Was I on your mind? Was I on your mind? Why else would have you been there? One thought at a time. One thought at a time. If I could hold my breath around you, it could make it easier. If I just exist without you, it can make it easier. If I knew my way around you, it can make it easier. If I could just exist without you, I would just exist, just exist.
There's that real delicate guitar in that, Braggy, isn't there?
Well, yes, but the thing I really like about the start of that song, and Eliza, she's playing bass, and she plays the melody the same, like on the bass, same as she's singing. One thought at a time, same notes on the bass as she's singing. You don't hear that very often. Did you pick that up?
No, I didn't. Tayla?
You should re-listen to that.
I've listened to that
clever.
song many, many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the bass at the start, one, no, she plays the same, the bass. That's great. And playing bass and singing is not easy. How many...
You don't see it often, do you?
No,
yeah.
who we
don't.
got? Susie Quattro, Tina Weymouth from Talking Heads.
Yeah.
And they're a Gold Coast band.
Oh, okay, so Queensland again?
Yeah, Queensland, producing the good stuff. They're doing some really good things over in the US.
Yeah.
From what I can understand, they don't list a drummer in their band.
Okay.
So, which may explain why Taylor met someone who had played drums for them.
Yeah. Yeah,
so-
that was like a nice little icebreaker when meeting this person, was that like we were looking at each other's Spotify repeat and like, yeah. I mean, I've got heaps of their songs in their repeat, and then I remember seeing his and I was like, oh, Get Stuffed. And he's like, no, I've actually like filled in for them. And I was like, that's a weird connection, but I think that's really cool as well.
So did they have a drummer when you saw them live?
Yeah.
They did, but
Okay.
I don't think he's like a permanent
Okay.
fixture that I know of.
They just get him for live shows.
Yeah.
And Curly, you were complaining, you old fart, that it was too loud. I can't
I
understand
was.
how they can be that loud. They seem like
Oh, they can be, but it's good.
It's almost a surfy.
Yeah.
It's almost a surfy sound, isn't it?
It is. It's yeah, and I guess that's what surprised me about the concert, because you do get this bit of a chilled vibe through their Spotify stuff, and you get the sense of the guitars, but it's underplayed in their recorded.
Yeah, the guitars
then-
are very well spaced out. Like there's a lot of room in that music.
Yeah, and then to hear them live, and one of the funny things I was going to do tonight is, with my 7-inch single, I was going to bring the Hard-Ons, and I was going to describe them as the second loudest band I've ever seen, because I think Eliza was pretty close to the loudest band. And, but it was just, it's a different experience seeing them live than to... the music's got a much harder edge to it.
Yeah.
And talking about the drummer, and I've got one of the live clips that we'll show later on, but the drummer really kicks it in.
Yeah.
And you just hear it. So it's an amazing thing.
Volume sometimes, Curly and Taylor, can be the venue sometimes, I always remember seeing bands at the James Cook Uni. They'll always seem so loud. Yeah, sometimes it's just the venue that can be... for some reason, make things louder and cut your head off.
Yeah, they were playing at a smaller venue, so that definitely would have, it would have definitely added to it. But I liked it being really loud. I suppose like I was right in the middle, and then Mum and Dad were a little bit higher up. They actually probably got a better view than I did, to be fair. But I don't mind that kind of loudness. It was nice to hear them live, you know. Because I mean, I bought tickets back in November, maybe even earlier than that, when I found out that they were coming to Brisbane, and they were supposed to be here at the end of January, but then COVID obviously, you know, went through everyone by the sounds of it, and so they postponed. So I'd been waiting so long that I was like, I don't care how loud they are, I don't care how great they are, I just want to see them. And I loved it.
And dragged mum and dad along too, which was...
Hey, you guys willingly came along. Willingly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Curly, isn't that great that you hear a band on the radio? On the radio, you know, that's an old format, the radio. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You hear a band on the radio, and you buy their music. Well, you don't really kind of buy it now. You download it, whatever you do, and then you get to go and see them live. It's the full circle. That's just so nothing's really changed since when we were the same age as Tayla.
It's just that you might hear the music, maybe not on. I think they've got a good relationship with Triple J. Correct me if I'm wrong. Triple J,
definitely
got a good relationship, but I don't think we've heard them on any of the commercial stations as yet. So.
But I think that's what makes them special as well, because they're still quite, you know, they've not yet hit mainstream, but like how cool is it to be a part of it while they're still, you know, quite underground, so to speak. You know what I mean?
I would call Triple J mainstream. I mean, I mean, you can't, like, Triple M's just oldies rock. It's just...
There's nothing wrong with Triple M.
You know, but they just play songs they've been playing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's true. So... I mean, if that's what I would say. You don't hear any. You know, how many times you hear a new band on Triple M?
No, you don't.
Yeah,
Very rarely.
I think it's also one of those things that when you listen to their music, does it really suit, you know, like a Nova, a Hit 105 kind of demographic? I personally don't think it does.
No.
It's what makes them special. Because I think you listen to a lot of mainstream music nowadays and you kind of get over hearing all of that music because it's the same thing over and over again. Whereas, you know, a radio station like Triple J, they're always looking for unearthed artists and all that kind of stuff. And so I think it definitely introduces, you know, a whole bunch of music that you would never hear about. I mean,
exactly.
If it wasn't for Triple J, we wouldn't be here talking about them.
Thank God for Triple J.
I know.
But there's a real word of mouth around Eliza too, isn't it? People are sharing that more than what I've seen in a lot of bands.
Well, that's the interesting thing. So obviously I said I added that first song to my work playlist, and then as I started slowly discovering them more and more, I was adding more and more music to the playlist. And the funny thing is, and I don't know if Dad picked it up, but I went with a friend, and then I'd actually saw one of my old part-timers from my old store, and she was like, well, you were just playing it all the time and I just fell in love with their music, so I came along. And she loved it. So it just that kind of made me feel kind of cool, because I was like, oh my God, I've converted someone to the Delusionals. I love this. And I love that because, you know, it's kind of nice that you can, it's that word of mouth that Dad said. I really like it, and, you know.
Well, that's the thing. These, you know, it's harder and harder to be individual these days. And so if you've got a little secret band, that's what we talked about with Chris Mazurek, you know, that underground scene. I still think sometimes people just like it because
it's cool.
It's it's because I know and you don't know. It's my little secret, and it's a little exclusive club.
Don't know,
It's just
it's
great.
And I think what I'm enjoying about liking the Delusionals is it's almost like it's gone full circle. So Tayla's first taste of music would have been sitting in the back of the car driving from Brisbane to Townsville on many, many occasions, listening to the likes of Paul Kelly and Weddings, Parties, Anything. And
great.
The Wedos do a live album called They Were Better Live, and it starts off with it's like a spoken poem called Barrett's Privateers. And I realised that I'd probably got my kids into a stage where Tayla was reciting the words.
Yeah.
Still can.
And still can. So, and now it's at the stage where Tayla's giving me tips about what bands to listen to.
Oh, that's good when you get to that stage, isn't it? I love
it. Yeah.
So let's put on my wife's second favourite song. So
we go for Save Me, are we?
No, this is called "Give You Everything." So,
I love
So
this song.
this is one of their newer ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this song.
Yeah.
Would I get to try? Am I just out my mind? I know that it's hard to give you everything you want, and I've been running circles round the months. I have to give you up, 'cause I can't give you everything you want. I'm selling my car.
Now that
Love it.
clip, that's like the classic. You can see that's aimed at America. That
Yeah.
sort of clip, isn't it? Where they're at
Yeah.
school and they got the lockers there, even though you can tell it's like a Queensland school somewhere. I think.
So it's actually also,
Yeah.
in this, again, being a 90s kid growing up in the early 2000s watching Disney, it's actually got hints of Lizzie McGuire in it as well, the cartoon aspect.
Yes, Ruby used to watch that. Yes.
Yeah, and that's what I loved. I remember when they released the music video, I watched it that day and I was like, okay, there's Lizzie McGuire in this. This is fantastic. Like, and it's just, it again goes back to that early nostalgia. And I think that's why a lot of people can kind of gravitate towards it because it's relatable, but it's also good music too. So, yeah. I mean, I was a Lizzie McGuire girl, so I immediately loved it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing, Braggy, when you go through and listen to their recorded stuff, you do get there's harmony in the vocals. There's some backup vocals.
I think that's
Yeah.
just Eliza, though, singing harmony with herself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
So I know you said that to me that you didn't think there was any harmonies in there.
In the live, when
the
they
live,
play,
when they
it's
play
just
live, yeah.
Eliza carrying it all by herself. And
Yeah.
And when I show the live clip, you'll see that, and you can see that there's real potential for them to add harmony into their vocals somehow with backup vocals when they go live, because they do it in their recorded stuff. So and
Yeah.
they're just
Taylor's
a cool
right with the
little band.
90s, though. I'm trying to think how some of them songs remind me of, and they remind me of, I forget the name of the band, but they sang that song, Forever Young.
oh, yeah.
Wanna be forever. It was kind of a
Interesting.
surfy song as well.
Yeah. So there's a
That's
song.
nice.
I don't think it's on the list, but one of my favorites, other than "Save Me," it's called "Salt," and
yeah.
it gives me. I think the second I heard it, it reminded me of 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, yeah?
There was just something about it, and I think it was when they were at prom. The song that they were playing. What was it? Was it "You've Got to Be Cool to Be Kind in the Right"?
right
Yeah,
places.
yeah. So "Salt," for some reason, the chorus of it just gives me that major, like, 10 Things I Hate About You. And I remember trying to explain it to someone and break it down and be like, no, it sounds exactly like this. And again, it's just it's that early 90s, like,
Well, it's not. So
Vibe.
they're obviously the same age as you. So they.
I actually think they're younger than me.
Okay, well, they grew up in that
Yeah.
same time as Ruby. I
Yeah.
think that's why the fucking Wiggles are number one in the Hottest 100. Cause
Hell yeah,
it's the
baby.
90s. All the kids now, they've got money, are out there listening to that or playing music, doing that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just that generation that's come through. So I
Yeah.
love it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So they did a full Australian tour just recently. They've just finished it,
Okay.
Yeah.
and now their next step is to go back to the States where they were prior to COVID. So
Yeah.
you can see that they've got some really good connections. You can see that they've signed some really good agreements. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens maybe in the next 12 months or so with Eliza
Yeah.
and the Delusionals. And while we're talking about America, at Coachella, we had 2 Aussie bands feature. The Chats.
The
Oh, yeah?
Chats.
Did the Chats play at Coachella?
The Chats
Oh,
did
my
play at Coachella, yeah.
Oh, they sing
And
Coachella.
and Amel and
Amel
the
and the
Sniffers.
Have on the nitrate? Oh, Sniffers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she was actually. I might try and get this video one of our shows upcoming, but she actually appeared on one of the night shows, one of the Today
Late
on
night.
the Tonight Network or something over there, and it's hilarious.
It's such a introduction to some of our finest Aussie music, in my opinion. I think it was Ben Lee. He tweeted out that Americans woke up this morning and the Chats performed Pub Feed at Coachella, and that just cultural reset. And I'm like, yeah, it's true. It's true.
Man.
I'm on
That's
Smoko.
just-
Could you imagine?
Can you imagine
wouldn't
American
Smoko.
being so confused about what a smoko is or a pub feed,
Yeah.
It would be hard to stand out at Coachella, but the Chats would. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And once again, 3-piece band, and they just got so much noise. And,
yeah.
So let's during the live concert there the other night, Braggy, they talked about a song that they were actually quite surprised hadn't taken off. Tay, is that right?
Yeah.
The song was called.
It's called Sentimental. So I think
yeah?
they released it at the end of 2020, and Eliza, had said they had expected it to do a lot better than what it did. And I think that's why they brought it into their set list, because, I mean, it wasn't one that I had heard quite a lot. It wasn't on my frequent rotation. And then when I listened to it again, I was like, holy shit, this is actually a really nice song, because a lot of their music is very... when you read the lyrics, it's not always the most positive and upbeat. It's about heartbreak. But you listen to Sentimental and it's kind of like, it's bittersweet, but it still leaves you feeling a little bit warm inside. And so it's come back onto my repeat playlist again. But it's a
This
good
is
one.
another one that's got that big ethereal vocals to it.
Yeah, that's a
Huge.
really good way to describe it. Yeah, hypnotic, ethereal, very, and they don't do a lot of music like that. They have their angry stuff, and then they have their upbeat, and then they're nice little soft and ethereal.
So let's
and I like it.
play a little bit of Sentimental, and let's see if we can get a couple more plays for them.
We've been here before, lying on the floor, like a sedative. With you I'm never bored, but it's not at all like I say it is. You're as sentimental to me, though I know, baby, not right now. You'll be showing up in a minute. I guess we'll have to figure it out. 'Cause it's blue right now, but we'll do it and do it again. Yeah, you love me now. Will you say that when something is missing? And we're fading down, but we'll do it and do it again. Knocking at the door. Baby, I adore you, and whatever it is, always
Yeah.
Love the bass in that.
nice.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah.
Like, I can see that from Just Exist, which seems like it's the early one, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can see the progress, and the clips get better, and the songwriting gets better. If they keep going on that trajectory.
Yeah, who knows? Now, Eliza does a lot of the songwriting with Kurt, who's the guitarist.
Who
The
is
big
also her
blonde
partner.
guitarist
Yeah.
is the guy called Tex.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
Correct? No,
Tay.
you're right.
And then Ruby Lee is the bassist, and she only joined in 2020, I believe.
I think so.
So the majority of the songwriting, from what I can see, has been written by Eliza and Kurt together, and they've had some big people collaborate with them when they're over in the States for some of their music. So
Cool.
yeah, and interesting, when they were at the gig, they were celebrating the impending engagement or upcoming wedding of some friends of theirs in the audience, and they said, we'd love to play you a love song, but we don't have any.
Yeah, they're all breakup.
Yeah.
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 I hope I just exist. Can just exist without you.
It's true, though. They don't really have a lot of, lovey-dovey music, and I think that's what I like about it, too, because sometimes I think that's a very cliche thing to write about, so why not write about everything else,
Well, especially, that's the age, too, when you're in and out of relationships.
Oh,
Gotcha.
yeah.
There you go. So, Yeah. What? You can only write about what you know. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that's
And
what's happening.
I
That's
think
what you
that's
write
also
about.
probably why, you know, I love a lot of what they write, because it's just it makes sense. Like it's sometimes what you cannot put out into your own thoughts. You're like, shit, that makes perfect sense in music, and I love it.
And that music, like, is that same thing to us. It's very, it's not sad music. It's kind of, what's the word? I had a word
It's
there and I
sad, but
lost
it's
it.
also like escapism too, because I mean, for me,
it's
I know
different-
I
yeah.
use it as escapism.
There you
A lot
go.
of their stuff, yeah.
It's comfort.
music,
in
it's
many
amazing,
ways
isn't
that
it?
You're not by yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Mournful.
that.
It's mournful music.
Yeah, yeah.
We should do a show on funeral songs, but yeah, keep going. Mournful. So the next song we're going to play, and we've only got 2 more left to do, so is Save Me. So this is the one that you initially heard. So
Yeah.
what was it that
cool.
grabbed you about it?
Ooh.
And forced that into your head where it was never to be lost again?
Oh, I can't explain it. It has a lot of new meanings now. But when you read the lyrics, it's again, it's that bittersweet vibe to it. I mean, for me, as somebody who interprets music, I don't know if it's 100% right or wrong, who knows, but
No, there's no wrong.
yeah, well, it's like I mean, I've spoken to Dad about this. One of my favourite Paul Kelly songs, I completely interpreted wrong, but it's still one of my favourites. So, but with Save Me, I remember reading the lyrics, and it sounds like somebody who is just so hopeful to find like the right person, and that they've got their eye on this one particular thing. They've got their goal set, and they're just willing to do whatever it takes to make this one thing stick. And some of the lyrics just I can't explain it. It's just take a chance on me, please. Take a chance, because you don't know how great this could be. And, you know, as somebody who likes to
That's cool.
as someone who likes to wear their heart on their sleeve, probably more than I'd like to admit, I think that's why it stuck with me. But it's also, it's now, this is going to sound very random, but it's actually my goddaughter's song when I try to put her to sleep. So New Year's Eve, my best friend had a baby. She was born in October, and spent New Year's Eve at Kayla's house because that's all I wanted to do. And Ellie just could not stop crying. She just wanted to fall asleep. So I was like, okay, don't know what I'm going to do, but I just started putting on music. And then just the beginning riff or whatever it is of Save Me, she just started calming down. And I remember thinking, holy shit, this is the coolest thing ever. Because my friends make fun of my music sometimes, but I'm like, the fact that my goddaughter loves this, and she has fallen asleep to it many times.
That's another generation now, Taylor. You've got to have, and she's going to grow up. She's going to say, you know, whatever she calls you, godmother or whatever she calls you. She's going to say, "Oh, my godmother used to play me this song."
Well, yeah,
you know,
so,
and it'll be in her playlist.
It's amazing, and it's funny. Like I was driving with Kayla the other day, and of course, when I drive, I listen to my music, because I don't want to listen to Nova. And it came on, and she was like, oh, it's Ellie's song. And I was like, you're goddamn right it is. And it works. so yeah, no, it's great. So it has a lot of different meanings now. But I think the initial meaning was like, I can 100% relate to, you know, having your eye set on this one person, and, you know, they don't want you, but you want to do everything possible to get them to want you. And
Okay.
yeah, I don't know.
Let's
really
have a
like
listen
it.
to this one, Curly.
Send it.
No worries, we'll do.
Honey, could you tell me where it went wrong? You say it all the time, but I can't seem to move on. I wanna be the one that you're counting on when everyone's gone. I could be a picture on your wall, ripped between the posts
Yeah, that's a good song
the
too.
best. It's so good. So
Yeah.
good. Like I
Little heavier.
oh, it's so nice, and the lyrics just they really do a number on you when you actually dive deeper. And so hearing that live was like it was the greatest thing ever. Like I just kind of stood still and just like absorbed it because it's my favorite. It will always be my favorite. So
It
yeah.
won't always be your favourite.
Oh, it will be.
There's something will come along.
It'd have to be something
It'll
very
always
good
be a
that just
sentimental favourite.
It'll always
Yeah.
be one of your favourites.
absolutely, absolutely.
So when you saw him live, so this is the bit that I spoke a little bit about last week, and I've done more research on them this week, and I've watched a lot more of their live stuff, especially when they were touring the States.
Yeah.
And so one of the big things that sort of, it didn't confuse me, but I just wondered about whether it was more of a show than about the music. But I've since seen how they've worked in the States, and they've done a couple of things with radio stations. You can see that there's a real deep appreciation and value for the music that they're producing. So, but when I saw them live, and I mentioned this, is that they were a lot. They really worked the social media aspect, and that's their target market. Let's face it. And they fully understand that, and they're fantastic at it, and probably too good at it, which is where I was thinking, is it about the music or is it about the Instagram moments? So, and I saw that more with the guitarists, the two guitarists that they've got, which is Tex and Kurt, and they just seemed just far too happy. they were smiling the whole time, and so, but since doing my research, I probably thought, okay, small venue, it's their last Australian tour before they head back overseas. It's the last time with friends.
It's also
I'll
kind of
temp
like
it down.
they're they said it themselves. Brisbane's like their hometown, so that could be the thing as well. But then also when you think about it, they haven't really been able to perform live for how many years because of everything that's been going down. So being back on stage, they're probably just like, fuck yeah, why not? Why not?
So, Kelly, you'd expect them not to be happy up there. Is that why you...
No.
I can understand how
They're just not angry. They're not angry.
They're not angry. Some of the music, some of the music can be a little bit,
Put it this
heavy,
way,
but...
Bragg. I saw Ed Cooper, and I think I've shared this story many, many times on the podcast, but I saw Ed Cooper at East Leeds Club, and Ed Cooper's out of the Saints, of course, and he went and formed his own way, and he's a bit serious about his music, and he's a bit like Laughing Clowns music, and it's a bit ethereal, and I spent the whole gig at the front row trying to make him laugh, or at least get a smile on his face. So, and so when I saw a band that was just so happy, I'm just thinking, oh my God, is this just image? But, fundamentally, no. I now accept the fact that it wasn't just image. They do produce some good music, and as I said last week, the crowd went off, and the biggest thing you could ever do as a band, if the crowd loves you, that's all you worry about, truly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't worry about that old guy up in the stand. So with that, what I'm going to show is some of the footage that I took of Just Exist, which was their last song. What I did like about them was their set was tight. It wasn't overly long. There was good interaction with the crowd. And this particular clip, I think you'll see some of the stuff that I saw. So it actually starts halfway through the song, and Eliza's got someone's phone, and she's doing selfies with someone else's phone
that's cool.
from the crowd. And then if you look at the guitars, you'll see their interaction with each other and the crowd. And then you'll also see what I'm hoping that the people around Eliza sees about the vocals, and how there needs to be some level of support for Eliza's vocals there when they go live, because fantastic voice, and I'd hate to see it ruined by putting too much strain. But this is the Eliza and the Delusionals at A Bright Side with their last song. And
Great
as
last
I said,
song.
it picks up in
Cool.
The crowd
Now, I did see
went
another
off.
microphone there.
Yeah,
on
they
the-
had it set up. No one used it.
Yeah. And now, did you think about this, Curly? The song's called If I Could Only Just Exist Without You. So she's obviously alone. So maybe her just singing by herself makes more sense than having someone else there.
Yeah, possibly. I just hate to see a good band. Really, you know what it's like with voices. They can go pretty.
Radio Birdman didn't have too many harmonies, mate. Did they?
I was like,
Yeah, but you listen to the Tribes and they had harmonies.
Yeah,
you
true.
listen to. I mean, even bloody Mick Blood from Lime Spiders had a harmony
Yeah, but you know.
with a bit of gravel thrown in. So
sometimes it just strips it back a little bit.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it. And as somebody who, again, I've belted that song out very many times in my car, I commend her for being able to actually yell it as
Yeah.
loud as she can without losing her voice or losing breath or
Yeah.
anything, because I certainly
Yeah.
have very many times. So, yeah.
and the way the strobes worked, the drums
Great.
kick in at that last segment, and it's just full on, and the crowd just loved it. So.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So Eliza and the Delusionals and our very first fan-filtered episode. So,
I like the fan filtered.
Yeah.
We're going to do that again. I might try and get my daughter to come and do one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
what?
We haven't had any hip hop on, so we're going to
I
get
was
some
going to
freaking
say,
hip hop.
what would Ruby choose?
Oh man, lucky,
But it's also-
lucky we're unfiltered because
Oh, shit, yeah.
whatever we put on, there'll be a lot of swearing going on.
But it just opens up also if someone else out there is a fan of a band
Yes,
and wants to come on and just share some of the stuff, why they like this band, talk through some of the music. And it's interesting, Tay, when you said it's you get different views of songs, and it may not necessarily be what you thought the song was about when you find out what they wrote it about, but that's music. That's what
Yeah.
it's all about.
Yeah.
and Tayla gave us a great insight there into how it makes her feel as well for that sort of stuff. And it's different for
Yeah.
everybody. That's the beauty of the whole of
Yeah.
music. I just want to go back. This kind of relates to what we've been talking about. How
Yeah.
you played music when Tayla was young, and now she's grown up and she's doing her own stuff. Got to go back to Coachella. My favourite part of Coachella, because I'm a sucker for a pop song, was Harry Styles and Shania Twain.
Very
Yeah.
that, yep.
Oh man,
That was a fantastic.
I freaking love that.
Yep.
And then there was a little part where he talked to her and he said, I owe it to you because I sat in my car with my mum and listen to you on the radio sing. And you taught me two things. You taught me how to sing and how not to mess with a strong woman.
Hell yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
a strong woman. So I just and so now he's he's a star.
Yeah.
So it just gets passed on. I love it.
It does.
He's one artist that you can definitely respect for,
Yeah.
merging the old with the new. It's like when he's done stuff with Stevie Nicks, it's like the greatest thing you've ever seen on stage. And just there's this clip, and if I can find it, I'll send it to Dad. But I think she's singing Landslide, and he just wants to start crying because I think he's just like, holy fucking shit, I'm on stage with Stevie Nicks right now. This is my life.
I
and
love
it's
Harry
just
Styles.
so nice. Yeah, he comes across as a very genuine artist and not someone that's in it for, financial gain. He just loves it because he loves
The best he
it.
could have done was leave the boy band and do his own thing at school.
Hell yeah.
Not that they were okay. I don't mind a boy band.
But he's
Was
evolved so much.
Was he in One Direction?
He was, yeah. Yeah. But he's done so much better on his own, and I think like the crowds show you exactly that. Like seeing people's reactions to when he comes out with new music, it's insane. But he's fantastic.
I've played that song live. That goes off no matter where you play that song, what age group.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Except
Now,
if you
Braggy,
play it to Curly.
it
Yes.
wasn't put out in the 80s, so I'm not sure.
We're going to drag you kicking and screaming out of the 80s before the end of this.
It wasn't released in 1986 because according to Dad, 1986 was the best year for music. So
No, that was 1971.
ooh.
So, Taylor, just put up with us as we just
That's
go
fine.
through the last little segment of the show. This is our Undiscovered 7-inch, and in my case, I've got an Undiscovered. It's a discovered 12-inch today. So,
Your first, Curly.
am I?
Yep. It's
And-
episode 61.
Yeah. So I've chosen a album of mine that was, it may be similar. Some people may think it's similar to what we just discussed with,
Oh, Transvision Vamp.
a bit of Transvision Vamp. And
Oh, man, I was in love with her.
yeah, so Psycho. So the album was called Pop Art, of course.
Yeah.
It's got liner notes with all the words in it, which is always awesome.
Yeah.
And my favourite song, and it still rocks, is I Want Your Love. And I just think that is such a awesome song that still doesn't get like the recognition of, that maybe some of the songs that it should have got. But yeah, Transvision Vamp, I thought that fitted in with tonight's show.
Yeah,
the
that
thing.
kind of little, like pop punk, weren't they?
Yeah, female singer.
Yeah.
They didn't help her either with vocals. So.
No, didn't need to. I don't think Blondie had many backup. Maybe there's some backup in Blondie. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's gonna,
Okay, Kelly,
we're going to find a show all about female vocals that do
There's
it
a
on
great
their
theme
own.
right there. You're welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks, Dave.
that's a good idea.
Seaside did the same thing. Seaside, the support band, she was vocal by herself, so
Was the support band loud?
not as loud as Eliza.
No, well, they never can be.
yeah, you're not
So-
allowed to be.
If they were loud, if they were really loud, then the next band's got to be louder. So that's sometimes that. I know we did a couple of supports back in the 80s and we caused lots of problems because we were too loud. We're always getting told to turn down. The Divinals we got in big trouble.
Oh,
Yeah.
Anyway,
You supported the Cockroaches too, didn't you?
yeah, we support the Cockroaches.
Stop it.
And then later on, when Ruby was little, I was travelling somewhere. Ruby wasn't with me, but I got on a plane and I sat next to Jeff. We got on the plane and I said, when you were in the Cockroaches, we supported you at the Townsville Sound Show. And he pretended he remembered, but
Yeah.
I don't think he did. But anyway,
Just a nice guy.
yeah. Okay. Do you know, it's 61, Tony, have you ever heard of an album called Highway 61 Revisited?
No.
Okay, that's Bob Dylan album.
Ooh.
That's when Dylan went electric.
Oh.
Changed the face of music when Dylan went electric. And so I've got a single off that album. It's like a Rolling Stone,
Oh.
and it's off. Yeah, you see down there, and that's also that's the title track's on there. Highway 61 Revisited. So that's pretty cool. Look how old school that
That
album
is old school. Even the old logo of the
It even
record
comes,
company.
even the little single comes in its own little sleeve.
Oh.
And one of the things I love when I collect records, because you don't have to pay as much for them, because this would be worth a fair bit, but mine's got Burdette written on it. So it belonged to someone called Burdette.
Love
Yeah.
that. What a name.
Yeah.
What spelling as well.
I know. I love it. I love it. I think we talked about this once before. I love it when there's writing on the
Yeah.
albums.
It has a story behind it.
It's got, someone's loved it before. And
Yeah.
4 triple T, do not steal. So,
mate, if that wasn't on there, that'd be worth a fortune as well. Never mind.
absolutely. So, Bob Dylan, 61. So, next episode, 62. We'll see what we've got. Hey, next week, ladies and gentlemen, we have got a band from Detroit called Wolf Darling. So,
Good name.
Really looking forward to this one. And I think the song that I'm listening to at the moment from them is just sublime. There's just something about it. I can't wait to share them next week. So we're talking to Detroit again. It's Shane's not
Nashville, Detroit.
who knows?
We're
So our good friend Shane Sigro passed this Sam on to us. So really looking forward to talking to Sam from Wolf Darling. He's excited. We're excited. So it should be a good show. The week after that, we're hoping that we've got Taylor Made Rejects. The week after that, we've got Rob Stanier. And then the week after that, we should have Luke from Maryborough. So
Luke from Maryborough. I
forgot-
hope that's what he goes by, because that'll be so cool.
no, he's got a band behind him at the moment. So he's got to run it past the band members. So it's a bit of a democracy up there. So he's producing grunge rock out of Maryborough. So, mate, you've
Can't
got
get
to...
any more Queensland than that.
Yeah,
I love that.
absolutely. Don't forget, most of the songs we feature and even the songs tonight we'll put on the Unfiltered and Undiscovered playlist, which is available on Spotify. Follow us wherever you find us on Facebook, YouTube and TikTok. If you've enjoyed the podcast episode, please like, subscribe and share it with other people. That's the way we can start helping more and more bands get their music heard. And in the words of the great Billy Bragg, if no one seems to understand, start your own revolution and cut out the middleman. Waiting for the great leap forward. We will see you all again next week. Get out and see some music.
Thanks, Taylor. That was fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks. It was fun.
Remiss of me. Thanks, Taylor.
That's all right.
Thanks, Dan.
See you all
See ya.
again next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Qui sta tutto.